scaling industries aim to provide large productivity gains, but they have to deal with a wide variety of automation challenges. And to overcome these challenges, we need tools such as Ansible. So, hello everyone, this is Sahiti on behalf of Edureka, and I welcome you to this session on Ansible Tower. So, thank you all the attendees for joining in today's session. Before we get started, all of you just give me a quick confirmation on the chat window whether I'm audible or not. Alright, I've got many yeses, so that's great. So let's get started with today's session. So throughout the course of this session, we're going to see what Ansible is and its architecture, understand what configuration management is since Ansible is the tool for configuration management. Then we'll talk about our main topic, that is Ansible Tower, where we'll discuss various parameters of towers such as addition, pricing, and features of the tower. And then finally, I'll end this session by showing you the Ansible Tower Dashboard, where I'll show you how the dashboard works and will perform various actions. Alright guys, so is the agenda clear to everyone? Okay, so that's great. So now let's get started with today's session. So starting with what is Ansible and its architecture. Ansible is an open source IT configuration management, deployment and orchestration tool which aims to provide large productivity gains to a wide variety of automation challenges. This tool is very simple to use yet powerful enough to automate complex multi-tier IT application environments as it allows you to create group of machines, describe how these machines should be configured or what actions should be taken on them, and it also issues all the commands from a central location to perform these tasks. Now that you know a basic introduction of what Ansible is, it's just a tool that helps in configuration management. Let me introduce you to its architecture. Well, the Ansible automation engine has a direct interaction with the users who write playbooks to execute the Ansible automation engine and also with the cloud services and configuration management database. Well, it consists of inventories, APIs, modules, plugins, and many others. So let's start by exploring each one of them. So starting with inventories, Ansible inventories are a list of hosts or nodes along with their IP addresses, servers, database which needs to be managed. Ansible then takes action via transport either by SSH or Unix, Linux or networking devices and WinRAM for Windows system. Coming to APIs, APIs in Ansible are used for transport for cloud services, public or private services. After APIs, we have the modules. So modules are executed directly on remote hosts through playbooks. The modules can control system resources like services, packages, or files, or even execute the system commands. Modules do it by acting on system files, installing packages, or making API calls to the service network. There are over 450 Ansible provided modules that automate nearly every part of your environment. For example, if I have to tell you, the cloud modules like the cloud formation, which creates or deletes an AWS cloud formation stack, and even database modules like MSSQL-DB, which removes the MySQL databases from the remote host. Now, after modules, let me introduce you to plugins. Well, plugins allow to execute Ansible tasks as a job build step. Plugins are a piece of code that augments Ansible's core functionality, and Ansible ships with a number of handy plugins so that you can easily write your own. Like for example, action plugins are the front end to modules and can execute tasks on the controllers before calling to the modules themselves. The cache plugins are used to keep a cache of facts to avoid costly fact gathering operations. The callback plugins enable you to hook into the Ansible events for displaying or logging purposes. There are few more components in the Ansible architecture that I would like to mention. One of them is networking. So Ansible can be also used to automate different networks. Ansible uses the same simple, powerful, and agentless automation framework IT operations and development that are already using. It uses a data model that is separate from the Ansible automation engine that easily spans different network hardware. Not only networking, but there are also hosts in the Ansible architecture are just the node systems which are getting automated by Ansible. So it can be any kind of machines such as Windows, Linux, Red Hat. Now, you must have heard about this word playbook in Ansible, right? Well, playbooks are just simple files written in YAML format which describe the task to be executed by the Ansible. Playbooks can declare configurations, but they can also orchestrate the step of any manual ordered processes even if it contains the jump statements. So they can either launch the task synchronously or asynchronously. Coming to CMDB, that is the configuration management database, it's basically a repository that acts as a data warehouse for IT installations. It holds the data relating to a collection of IT assets that are commonly referred to as configuration items and also describes the relationships between the assets. And finally, coming to the last component, that is cloud. Cloud is basically a network of remote servers hosted on the internet to store, manage, and process data rather than a local server. So you can launch your resources and instances on cloud and then you can connect them to your servers. So guys, this was a brief about the Ansible architecture that you can see on the screen. So now that you've understood what Ansible is and what are the basic components of its architecture, you must have got a question, right? Why are we using it? What is configuration management? Where has configuration management come from? What was the need of it in real life, right? So guys, let me tell you that I'm going to answer all your questions. Well, let me start explaining configuration management with a scenario here. The best example with which I can explain you is the New York Stock Exchange scenario. Well, we all know how big New York Stock Exchange is, right? So a software glitch prevented the New York Stock Exchange from trading stocks for almost 90 minutes. This led to millions of dollars of loss, and basically what happened was a new software installation had caused that problem. So this new software was installed on 8 of its 20 trading terminals and the system was tested out the night before. However, in the morning, it failed to operate properly on that particular 8 terminals. So, there was a need to switch back to the old software. So, you might think that it was a failure of New York Stock Exchange, right? Well, let me tell you that in reality, it wasn't a failure. As a result of proper configuration management processes of New York Stock Exchange, the NYSE recovered from that situation in 90 minutes, which was pretty fast, right? So just imagine if they had this problem for longer, they would have faced so severe consequences and they would have gone into loss, right? So it's clear, right? The configuration management plays an important role and it saved the NYSE from incurring losses. So guys, that is configuration management. It can save you, from having a lot of losses and severe consequences. So if I have to define configuration management for you, configuration management is the practice of handling changes systematically so that a system maintains its integrity over time. So, configuration management ensures that the current design and the build state of the system is known, good, and trusted, and doesn't rely on the knowledge of the development team. It allows to an accurate historical record of system state for project management and audit purposes, and this is how configuration management helps you to overcome the challenges. So, guys, that was about configuration management. So now that I've told you what exactly configuration management is and I've also introduced you to Ansible, let's get into our main topic, that is what is Ansible Tower. Well, Ansible Tower is a web-based solution that makes Ansible very easy to use for all kinds of IT teams. It allows you to control access and allows sharing of SSH credentials without someone being able to transfer those credentials. It also provides command line tools for easy integration with Jenkins and also provides great support for auto-scaling topologies. Not only this, but also your inventory can be graphically managed or sync with a wide variety of cloud services. Well, if you have to understand about Ansible Tower, then Ansible Tower is a RESTful API endpoint and a web-based user interface for Ansible, which provides a framework for running Ansible inside your enterprise. Right? So guys, that was what Ansible Tower is. It's just a web-based user interface through which you can run Ansible inside your enterprise. So now that I've told you what Ansible Tower is, let's start discussing the various parameters of Ansible Tower such as editions, tower pricing, and tower features. So starting with the tower editions are mainly of three types: the self-support edition, the standard edition, and the premium edition. Well, all these editions differ by the capabilities they offer. So don't worry guys, I'll be discussing each one of them in detail. So as I was telling you about the capabilities these editions offer, I've divided them into following categories that you can see on the screen. So that is the control, knowledge, delegation, support, maintenance, and documented CLI. So starting with the control category, this category mainly deals with how various pods can be scheduled, what Ansible Dashboard offers, and many other such features which basically include the control of your system. So under this category, let me tell you that the Ansible Tower offers Ansible Tower Dashboard to see a summary view of the entire Ansible environment at any time. You can also watch your Ansible playbook jobs updates in real time. You can execute simple Ansible tasks on your inventory on an as needed basis. You can schedule playbooks to run at a specific time or to repeat anytime that you want. You can pull and sync your playbooks and inventories from Git, SVN, or Mercurial, or any other source code management system. You can view your inventory and sync with Amazon, GC, Rackspace, Azure, VMware, OpenStack, and many others. You can also provide credentials, inventory, limits, tags, and more at a job launch. Not only this, but you can also get playbook run status automatically via Slack, HipChat, email, custom webhooks, and many more. And finally, you can also build multiple playbook workflows right in the Ansible Tower without having to create a new playbook. So guys, let me tell you that all these features are not available in all the three editions. Like the self-support edition doesn't support the feature of multi-playbook workflow features, whereas it supports all the other features. Now moving on to the next category, that is knowledge. In this category, we are going to basically talk on how Tower provides various capabilities to ensure clear visibility and compliance of the works that are done on the dashboard. So basically, the knowledge category includes the features such as the role-based access control, where you can easily control who runs what task and on what inventory. Then it also provides Ansible Dashboard, as I told you previously, to see a summary view of your entire Ansible environment at any time. It also makes sure that the credentials are secured by securely encrypting secrets and delegating tasks without exposing them. It also helps in defining the custom credential types to be used with the inventory and playbooks. With the dashboard, you can also pull users and teams from Google Apps and GitHub accounts. Not only this, but you can also pull your users and team from your LDAP or Active Directory server and integrate them with your authentication. You can also provide audit trails, by which I mean that activity streams on every page so that you know who does what and when. You can also use multiple organizations with full privilege separation and automatically export system tracking and Ansible Tower job run outputs to an endpoint of your choosing, such as Splunk, Elasticsearch, Sumo Logic, and many others. So again over here, let me tell you that all these features are not supported by all the three types of editions. The self-support edition doesn't support integration with enterprise accounts, audit trail, by which I mean that you can't know who did what and when. It also does not support multiple organizations with full privileges and also does not include the capability of logging and analytics integration. So guys, that was about this category. Now moving on to the next category, that is delegation. In this category, I'm going to talk about the features which are basically about the self-service, the role-based access, credentials, and so on. So starting with the delegation category offers the role-based access control by which you can easily delegate inventory, credentials, or playbooks to the users. It also offers push button job runs, by which I mean that you can launch Ansible playbooks from the web UI and delegate playbook runs to the team members. It also offers a simple view for the delegated users and quickly builds forms to request job variables from Ansible Tower users. So now again, let me tell you that the self-support edition doesn't offer the quickly built forms to request job variables from Ansible Tower users, whereas standard and premium editions do offer these features. Now moving on to the next category, that is the support category, where we're going to talk about the different kinds of support that the editions offer. We'll start off with the installation support, where you get up and running with the Ansible and Ansible Tower. It also offers enterprise support, that is the 8 into 5 support. The premium support is 24 into 7 support, and the Ansible Engine bundle is the support for Ansible Executable Engine, and the Ansible Engine bundle is the support for Ansible Executable Engine and selected core modules and plugins. So guys, again, the self-support doesn't offer any of these supports. Only the standard and the premium do offer these supports, but yes, the standard edition also doesn't have the premium support, it just has the enterprise support. Now moving on to the next category, that is maintenance. By maintenance, I'm talking about how you get full access for bug fixing and upgrade releases. And finally, the fully documented REST API and Tower CLI, with which you can integrate the Ansible Tower into your existing toolset with fully documented API and Tower CLI API wrapper. So guys, that was about the Tower editions. All these features are not available in all the three editions. Some are available in all the three editions, whereas some are not. It's completely based on your need, which edition do you choose when, so that you get all the features that are required for your projects. Now coming to the next parameter of Tower, that is Tower pricing. Tower pricing are mainly for two types, the standard and the premium. Well, the self-support one is a free edition, whereas the standard and premium are not the free editions. So basically, the standard edition is used for enterprise IT operations, whereas the premium edition is used for mission critical operations. The standard offers the 8x5 support and also offers maintenance and upgrades access. Similarly, the premium edition offers 24x7 support and also again offers maintenance and upgrade options. But the difference comes here. In the standard edition, the price up to 100 nodes is $10,000 per year, and for the premium edition, up to 100 nodes is $14,000 per year. But if you want more number of nodes, over 100 nodes for both these editions, then you have to contact to their official website where they'll let you know the pricing based on your need. So guys, that was the difference between the tower pricing for the standard edition and the premium edition. Now moving on to the tower features. Well, the tower features are almost the same that the parameters I was just talking about in tower editions, but yet let me discuss about them again. So the first feature I'm going to talk about is Ansible Dashboard. Well, the Ansible Tower Dashboard provides a heads-up NOC style display for everything going on in your Ansible environment. So as soon as you log in, you'll see your host and inventory status and all the recent job activity and a snapshot of recent job runs that I'll show you when I open my dashboard. So you can adjust your job status settings to graph data from a specific job and time ranges. Moving on to the next feature, that is the real-time job updates. Within the Ansible Tower, playbooks run stream by in real time. So as Ansible automates across your infrastructure, you'll see plays and tasks complete broken down by each machine and each success or failure complete with the output. So with this, you can easily see the status of your automation and what's next in the queue. Now the next feature is the multiple playbook workflows. So while Ansible Tower's multiple playbook workflows chain any number of playbooks regardless of whether they use different inventories, run as different users, or run at once and utilize credentials. So Ansible Tower workflows allow for many complex operations. So you can build a provisioning workflow that provisions machines, applies a base configuration, and deploy an application all with different playbooks maintained by the different teams. You can also build a CI/CD testing workflow that builds an application, deploys it to a test environment, run tests, and automatically promotes the application based on the test results. You can also set up different playbooks to run in case of a success or a failure of a prior workflow playbook, and then easily model complex processes with the Ansible Tower Intuitive Workflow Editor. You can also know who ran what job when, by which I mean that with Ansible Tower, all the automation activity is securely logged. So who ran it, how they customized it, what did it do, where did it happen, all are securely stored and are viewable later, or you can even export them through the Ansible Tower's API. Not only this, you can also scale capacity with tower clusters, by which I mean that you can connect multiple Ansible Tower nodes into a single Ansible Tower cluster, and the Ansible Tower clusters add redundancy and capacity which allow you to scale Ansible automation across your complete enterprise. After this, let me also mention that you have a feature that is integrated notifications. So with this, you can stay informed of your automation statuses via integrated notifications, and then you can notify a person or a team when their job is succeeded or even escalate it when their job fails. So basically, this allows you to send notifications across your entire organization at once or also be customized on a per job basis. Not only this, but you can also schedule Ansible jobs, by which I mean that you can control when you can run your playbooks, cloud inventory updates, and source control updates. You can also manage and track your entire inventory, as you can easily pull your inventory from public cloud providers such as Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and many other environments. Ansible Tower also lets you launch playbooks with just a single click. It can prompt you for variables, let you choose from the available secure credentials, and also monitor the resulting deployments. So with Ansible Tower, delegation developers or the QA departments can provision their own dev and test environments, and customer service agents can provision a new demo environment. Putting all these features on a side, let me tell you that Ansible Tower is not just limited to the user interface, but every feature of Ansible Tower is available via the Ansible Tower REST API, providing the ideal API for a system management infrastructure to build against. So you call the Ansible Tower jobs from your build tools, show Ansible Tower information in your custom dashboards, and get API usage informations and best practices with the built-in documents. Now coming to the last feature, that is the remote command execution. Ansible Tower lets you run simple tasks on any host or a group of hosts in your inventory with this feature. It allows you to add users or groups, reset passwords, restart a malfunctioning service, or patch a critical security issue quickly. So guys, these were the features of Ansible Tower. It provides a dashboard. It allows you for real-time job status updates. It provides multi-playbook workflows. You can know who ran what job when. It allows you to scale capacity with Tower clusters. It provides the feature of integrated notifications. It allows you to schedule Ansible jobs as per your need. You can manage and track the entire inventory and offer self-service, REST API and Tower CLI tool, and also remote command execution. So guys, that was all about Ansible Tower, its features, additions, and pricing. So now that I've told you so much about Ansible Tower, let me open my Ansible Tower dashboard and show you how it looks and what all can you do with it, right? So let's get started. So once you try to open your Ansible Tower dashboard, you first have to enter your credentials. So these are my credentials. I'll just log in. So after logging into the tower, you'll see this dashboard which offers a status summary of all the hosts and job, including successful and failed Ansible playbook runs, statuses, all hosts across all the inventories, list of recent jobs, projects, whatever have you done till now, when have you started using, which were successful on which date, how many projects failed on which date, and so on. So that's how the dashboard looks. So first let me show you how Tower supports the collaboration of teams by providing a permission system to manage access by individual Tower user across multiple Ansible inventories and playbooks. So let's go to the settings option that you see. Once you go to the option, you see a Teams tab, right? So just click on this tab and the Teams tab opens up. So this is basically the Teams tab. So I have created around 3 teams over here. You can create n number of teams that you want. So suppose if you want to add a team, you just click on this button add, and then you start mentioning the name, description, and the organization, and then you'll click on save. So let me just open a previous team that I created and let me show you its permissions and everything else. So as you can see, this team development, it is for a dev team, and the organization is my organization. I've put it as default, and the users who are a part of this team are the admin and the host admin, and the permissions they have is to access the AWS inventory. So as you can see, Tower provides a complete role-based access control system, allowing you to explicitly permit users and team of users to run playbooks. So let me just go back to my teams option here. Let me just add a team and let me just show you how you can add permissions and all. So let's say I create a team, suppose ABC. Let's say description to be demo and organization to be default. Then I'll just click on save. So you can see that your team has been created. So if you just click on this edit option, you can edit the credentials of your team. So let's go to the users who can get access to this team. So now if I have to add a new user, I'll go to this add option over here and then I'll select the user. So let's say I want to add the cloud admin to this particular team, and then let's say I want to select a role for it. So let's say I select a role to be member. So he's just a member of the team, he's not the admin of the team, and then I'll click on save. So once you refresh this, you can see that the cloud admin has been also added to the team as a member. Now let's go to the permissions tab, and you can see that this team has been granted no permissions. So if you have to add new permissions, you just have to click on this option add permission. So let's say I give them the permission for the Git demo project. So let's say they can update the projects. So once you're done with that, you just have to click on the save option. So that means you have granted this team a permission to access this particular project and then update the project. So that's how you can grant permissions to particular teams. Now, if you remember, I was talking about push button deployment of Ansible playbooks, right? Well, that can be easily done in a Tower by configuring a template within Tower to store all the parameters you would normally pass to the Ansible playbook. So if you create a job template, then that would make it really easy to mention all the variables, the options, the settings, and everything needed for that particular playbook, so that even a person who hasn't written that particular playbook can also understand that particular job template. Now, let me tell you one important thing over here. Some of the job templates can reuse the exact same playbook, but different parameters are passed to the playbooks in various ways with different inventories. So in short, you can just understand that the job templates encourage reusing Ansible playbook content and collaboration between teams. So now let me just show you how to create a job template. So to create a job template, you just have to go to the templates tab, and then as you can see on the screen, there's already a demo job template available. So if you want to add a new template, you just click on this add option over here. You choose job template, and then you mention the details. So every job template needs a name, a description where you can put in whatever is the description for your job template, a job type to be a run or a check. So if you set the job type to run, it executes the playbook by running tasks on the selected host. But if you set the type to check, it does not actually execute the playbook but will instead check the syntax that tests the environment setup and report any problems along with what job would have changed had it been in the run mode. The inventory selection is basically you have to choose any inventory that you have configured in the tower. So let's say I create a job template to be demo. Let's say this is for demo purpose. Job type to be run. The inventory type to be, let's say, AWS. Let's say I mention the project type to be the demo project. Let's say I choose the playbook to be hello world.yaml. Let's say I choose the credentials to be the demo credential, and then I click on select. And let's say I allow the options to be to allow enable privilege escalation, and then I'll click on save. So this will basically create my job template. Now you must be wondering, what are these credentials, what is inventories, what are the playbooks that I'm talking about, how are projects created, right? So don't worry guys, I'll be showing each one of them one by one. So now that you've understood how to create job template, let's grant some permissions for it. So we'll go to the permissions tab, and then I'll add a permission. So let's say I add permission for the cloud admin to access this particular job template, and let's say I select the role to be admin. So once I'm done with that, I'll click on save. So now you can see that our cloud admin is also the admin for this job template. Let's also configure the notifications tab. So you can see that there are no notifications present and there are no completed jobs as part of this job template, right? So that's how you configure a simple job template. You can configure based on your need, what kind of machines that you want, what inventory that you want to access, what part of your project you want whom to access. You can do anything. So as I was talking so much about inventories, now let me go to the inventories tab and show you what all is present in the inventories. So well, let me tell you that the inventories can be named and set up to match your organization and how you have divided your systems. I have 3 inventories over here. Each inventory is basically a simple collection of hosts, the same as the Ansible inventory file on the command line, and you can group hosts underneath the inventories in any way that makes sense for you and your organization. So suppose if I have to open this inventory, you can see the details of the inventory, right? Well, you can add your own group and the host for the inventories. For this particular inventory, I haven't added any particular host or groups. This inventory is just related to one group, that is the local host, right? So it's completely dependent on you, on how you and your company want the inventory to look like. So now going back to the inventories tab, let me show you how to add an inventory. So you just click on this add option where you get 2 options: inventory, smart inventory. So I'll go to the inventory option. So now to create a new inventory, you have to mention the name, description, and the credentials that are required. Let's say I create an inventory with the name demo and description to be demo purposes. Once this is done, I'll just save this inventory. So you can see in the inventory list that our demo inventory has been saved. So for this particular inventory, let's grant some permissions and let's see how things can be done. So we'll go to the permissions tab, and over here, I'll grant the permissions for the users. So for that, I'll go to the add option, and then let's say I'll click the option cloud admin. So I want this cloud admin to just, use this particular inventory. So I'll give him the access to use, and then I'll click on save. So similarly, you can, add groups, add hosts, add the sources, and also have a list of the completed jobs. So that's how you create inventories. Now let's go to the settings tab over here, and let me just show you how, you allow different users to access different projects or inventories in the tower. So I already have few users. So if you have to add more users, you just click on this add option over here, and then you just mention the details. So let's say I mention the details. And let's say I choose the user type to be, let's say, normal user, and then I'll click on save. So you can see that user has been added. So now let's just grant permissions for this particular user. So we'll go to the organizations tab here, where my default organization is present for this particular user. Well, you can change the organization based on the inputs that you have given. Then you can choose the teams. That is basically which teams this particular user is going to be a part of. So let's say if I want this user to be a part of some particular team, I just have to go back to my teams tab that is present in the settings, and then over there I'll have to add this particular user to any particular team that I want. And coming to the permissions, well, this user doesn't have any permissions presently, but if you want to add permissions, you just go to this add permissions option over here. And let's say I give this particular user the access to the job template and then decide the role for this particular user. So let's say I decide the role to execute this particular template and save this option. So this particular user will get access to the job template that we just created. Now guys, coming to the next tab, that is the projects tab. So let me just open this particular project and let me show you the configuration details of this particular project. So well, I've chosen this particular project to be of a Git type for demo purposes. I've mentioned the URL, I've mentioned what happens after update. I want it to clean, and then I've given the permissions to some users to access this particular project, right? So similarly, if you want to create a new project for yourself where you want to connect the projects that are present in your GitHub accounts, you just have to go to this option add, and over here you have to mention the details. So let's say I mentioned the project name to be Git demo, description to be for demo purposes, and let's say I choose an SCM type to be Git. You can choose any of these SCM types that are present over here. I'm choosing Git because that's where I'm going to get my URL, SCM URL. So let me just go to my GitHub account, and let's say I want to link this particular project to my Ansible Tower. So I'll just go over here, copy the SCM URL link, go back to my Tower dashboard, I'll paste the URL over here, and then I'll make sure that it gets updated every time on launch, right? So once that is done, I'll just click on save. So as you can see, this particular project has been created. Now if I have to again grant permissions, you just have to go to the permissions tab, and over here you just have to add the permissions. So let's say I give the permissions to any particular user. So I'll go to the add option, I'll choose this particular user to get the permission, I'll select the role to be update. Once that is done, I'll click on save. So that particular user will get the access to update, and I'll go back to my projects tab, Git demo, and then I'll choose the option to start an SCM update. So I'll just click on this option and it will start working on it. Now coming to the jobs tab, as you just saw that I gave an update action to the Git demo project, it's getting updated, right? So you can obviously view this job completely. So let's just view this job. You can see that that particular project has been successful, when it started, when it finished, how long did it take, what kind of a launch it was, who did it, was it an inventory or was it a project, was it a job template. Everything can be sorted out. You can also see what is happening on the output side, what all is getting changed, or what is reachable, what is not reachable, everything. So the jobs tab is basically where you come to know what job is running when and where, and you can keep a track of all these jobs which have failed, which haven't failed, and so on. So guys, that was a short session on Ansible Tower. Well, this was just the basic way you can explore stuff. Let me tell you that based on your need, you can have n number of inventories, n number of projects, connecting to people who are using the same tower but have to work on different inventories or projects. You can do anything that you want. So before I end this session, let me just show you the license of the tower. So for that, you have to go to the settings tab, and over here you can see the option to view your license. So you just have to click on that. So when you open this tab, you can see your license, where you get all the information about your license, like the license key, the time remaining, the host that you're presently using, how many hosts are available, and so on. So guys, this was all about the Ansible Tower. The more you explore, the more you will know how good Ansible Tower is and how it helps us to do all the jobs without using the Ansible CLI. So guys, that's all for today's session. I hope you found this session informative. Thank you and have a great day.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!